So first up, we're going to start with our AS3740 2010 tabbing. So with this one, we've got a couple of tabs across the top and then we've got a few side tabs, so we will get through it reasonably quickly. So that's where we're going to start off with this particular one. We're going to work our way across the top. It's only 5 tabs across the top. And then we will do the side tabs. After we've done this 2010 version, we will be doing the 2021 version. So we're going to do those 2 waterproofing books. Then the last one we're going to cover is our Guides to Standards and Tolerances. So we've got 3 books left. Once we're done, that's it for the evening. So first up, waterproofing, tabs across the top. So the first, excuse me, the first place I'm going to start is page 49. Long way in, page 49. And on page 49, I'm putting 2 tabs up the top. One is the C1 waterproofing table C1 waterproofing, and the other one is figure, bath and vessel. So 2 tabs going across the top. So as with all the times when I've got tabs across the top, I start out at the far corner and do the first 2, in this case 2 tabs together on page 49. So that is those 2 tabs taken care of. So that is page 49, that is table C1 waterproofing and figure, bath and vessel. And that was on page 49. After page 49, we move into page 45. Page 45, we're putting 1 at the top. We're putting a figure waterproofing floor. Figure waterproofing floor. Is what we're doing, figure waterproofing floor. All right, beautiful. After our page 45 for figure waterproofing floor, we go to 43 for figure 900 less, figure less 900 shower is the way it's written. So this is talking about your waste requirements when your shower screen is below 900. So that is figure less 900 shower for that particular tab. The last tab for across the top is going to be on page 41, which is figure C1. So figure C1 is the last of our tabs across the top. So figure C1. The good news is the side tabs, we keep working forward with those. So that is our tabs across the top. Now we're going to start doing our tabs up the side. So we keep moving in to page 35. Page 35. Is where I'm going to be kicking off my side tabs. So I've got 2 on this particular page 35. I've got shower screens and I've got door jambs and arcs. Door jambs and arcs. So I've got these 2 tabs on page 35. So just starting down the bottom and working my way up. So 2 tabs on page 35. We've got those 2 under control. So that was page 35. After page 35, we're moving into page 27. 27, which is where I'm putting in my bond breakers. So my bond breakers is going in on page 27. 27 for bond breakers. After section or page 27 for bond breakers, I'll be moving into page 23. And on page 23, I'm putting in caulking of WR board. Caulking of WR board is going in on page 23. Caulking of WR board on page 23. So page 23, we've got caulking of WR board. So after caulking of WR board, we just flip over to page 21. 21, we're putting in 2 tabs. We're putting in shower recessed soap and penetrations. So 2 tabs in on page 21. So shower recessed soap and penetrations. So 2 tabs. So I have my penetrations and shower recessed soap, both on page 21. After page 21, I go to page 19 for junctions. On page 19, I'm putting in the tab junctions. So we've got junctions on page 19. After page 19, we go to page 17 for our baths and spas tab. Page 17 for baths and spas. Baths and spas, both on that one tab on page 17. So after page 17 with baths and spas, we're going to go to page 13. And on page 13, we're putting in the tab for falls in floors and showers. So falls in floors and showers, which is to do over here. Falls in baths and showers. And the last tab we have for this particular book will be on page, should be 7, which is for our definitions. Definitions on page 7. So good news is another book bites the dust. So that is our waterproofing 2010. So next one we're going to move in with is our other waterproofing book, which we've got. That's that particular one. Next one we're going to be doing is the 2021 version. So the 2021 version has a lot more tabs. So we've got some tabs for across the top, and then we've got a lot of side tabs. So we're going to do our tabs across the top first, just so that we can sort of get this under control. So we've got a lot of appendices and so forth across for this. So it's broken up mainly into these appendices. So the first one is marked as Appendix F, and that's going in on page 63. Page 63 is where I'm going to be putting in my Appendix F tab. So that's on your page 1 for this particular one. Appendix F, page 63. So we're just going to work our way across with these appendices. So after 63 for Appendix F, we're going to page 59 for Appendix E. Appendix E on page 59. So Appendix E, page 59. After Appendix E on 59, we're going to 57 for Appendix D. Appendix D is on page 57. After 57 for Appendix D, we're going to page 55 and we're putting two appendices here, Appendix C and Appendix B across the top. So we've got Appendix C and Appendix B. We've got those two appendixes. After Appendix A, C and B, we've got Appendix A going in on page 47. Page 47 is where we're putting our Appendix A in. Appendix A, there on page 47. Okay, so after page 47, our next tab is definitions, and the definitions tab is all the way on page 3. So a long way in is where we're putting in our definitions tab. Terms and definitions. So top of page 3, we're putting in our definitions tab at the top. We've got two more tabs for across the top, and both those are going in on page 1, which is our normative references and scope. Normative references and scope, both on page 1. And that gets rid of our tabs across the top. And then all we've got to do is do our side tabs. So let's say a couple of tabs across the top. Okay, so we've got those ones done. So now we're going to work into our green side tabs. So we're going to start on page 2 with compatibility. Compatibility tab, which is all the way down there. Compatibility tab, we're going to keep that one off. And that one's going to be back on page 59. So page 59 is where we're going to start with our compatibility tab. So with these in this particular color, we'll work our way up and then we'll reset as we run out of room. So compatibility is the first tab in the side tabs. So that's page 59, the compatibility. After compatibility, we're going to page 57 and we're doing an install checklist. Install checklist is going in on page 57. Page 57 is our install compatibility. Install compatibility is all on page 57. After page 57, we're going to 55, and in 55, we're putting in fall. So falls in finished floors is what we're talking about here. So page 55 is falls, or fall, should I say, singular, not plural. So we've got fall on page 55. Next up, we've got floors, and floors is going to be page 49. So page 49, I'm putting in floors. So I've got a tab over here, marked floors. So page 49 is floors. After page 49 floors, we're going to page 47. And in this one, we're putting in our wet area category tab. Wet area category tab, because we've got our categories for wet areas here, which is a new system or new sort of rating system about what an area is classed as. So that is wet area category, floor heating and polished concrete on page 45. Floor heating and polished concrete on page 45. After that, those two, we move to page 43 for vinyl. So the tab vinyl on page 43. Page 43, vinyl. So after page 43, vinyl, we're going to 41 for shower screens. Page 41 is where we're talking about shower screens. So page 41 for shower screens. After page 41 for shower screens, we're going to page 39 for preformed shower bases. Preformed shower bases on page 39. Preformed shower bases on page 39. After our preformed shower bases on page 39, we're going to page 33 for baths and spas. Page 33 for baths and spas. Baths and spas on page 33. After page 33 for baths and spas, we go to page 31. 31, we're putting in two. We're putting in niches and penetrations. Niches and penetrations on page 31. So niches and penetrations are both on page 31. Oh, excellent. So after that, we go to page 29. 29, we're putting in bond breakers. So new page, bond breakers going in on page 29. For bond breakers. I reckon that'll be the last tab going up, and I'll reset down the bottom. So after bond breakers on page 29, we're going to move forward to page 25. And on page 25, starting down the bottom, I'm putting in three tabs. I'm putting in frames and arcs. I'm putting in door openings. And I'm putting in shower near exits. So those three tabs, and I'll just start down the bottom and work my way up again. So frames and arcs, door openings, and showers near exits. So 3 tabs on the one page. Excellent. So after those 3, we're going to page 23. In 23, I'm putting 2 more tabs. I'm putting in closed showers and I'm putting in step down showers. So 2 enclosed showers and step down showers. Yes, we have skipped unenclosed showers. We'll come back to it. So I've got enclosed showers and step down showers. Closed showers and step down showers are all there on page 23. After page 23, we're going to page 21 and we're putting in 4 tabs on page 21. We're putting in unenclosed showers. We're putting in water stops. We're putting in hob construction. And we're putting in vertical membrane. So 4 tabs going in on page 21, which is unenclosed showers. Excuse me. Unenclosed showers, water stops, hob construction, and vertical membrane. So that was page 21, which unenclosed showers, water stops, hob construction, and vertical membrane. Okay, after vertical membrane, we're going to page 19 for 1 tab, which is membrane termination. Membrane termination is going in on page 19. Vertical membrane, and then we've got membrane termination, page 19. Okay, after page 19, we go to page 17 with 2, which we've got membrane application and surface prep. So 2 tabs to go in here, membrane application and surface prep on page 17. So we've got those 2. Okay, after that particular one, I go to page 15. Page 15, I'm putting in 1 tab on page 15, which is linear drain. Linear drain on page 15. So I've got linear drain on page 15. Okay, after page 15, we're going to page 13. Going to start down the bottom again because I've got 4 tabs to go in. I've got leak control flange. I've got install. I've got adhesives and I've got fastenings. So 4 tabs all on page 13. So I'm going to start down the bottom and work my way up again. So leak control flange, install, then adhesives and fastenings. Adhesives and fastenings, all on page 13. So page 13, I'll just repeat. We've got leak control flange, install, adhesives and fastenings, all on page 13. After page 13, We roll on to page 11 for 2 tabs. The 2 tabs are sealant and WR substrates. Sealants and WR substrates on page 11. So sealant and WR substrates. Are on page 11. So after those two, on page 9, we've got require for falls tab. So 1 tab on page 9, which is the require for falls. So talking about the angles of your fall. So that is page 9 for 1 tab, and then the final tab in this particular book is on page 7, which is shower class. So shower class on page 7, and that is the last tab for that particular